if you click this video, there's a big chance that you're going through a rough season in your business, maybe even in your life, or maybe you just click this video because you're curious and you want to know, like, hey, what do I need to do to avoid getting into situations like these? And either way, I get it. I see you, and I just want you to know you're not alone. And there will always be a happy ending or a success story waiting for you at the end of this if you do not quit and if you just follow these simple steps that not just make me survive the season, but make me become better because of it. So with that being said, welcome to my channel. I'm Kyra. I'm a psychology strategist. And if you're new here, I just want to give you a bit of context to, where I was at when all hell broke loose. So I found myself in a season of my life and also my business where I was like incredibly happy and successful. Like everything was going amazing. I just flew out my family to a 5-star resort for 2 weeks, including all 4 of our dogs. We were having the best time. I just ran my 2-day retreat. So everything was like amazing. And I felt like I was at a peak, I had massive success and the success felt great. And I could just envision myself continuing to, get better and better and better. And I kind of saw it like this increasing journey where everything would just be easy and unicorn poop. Well, it wasn't. Turned out I was just about to step into the worst month of my business and definitely one of the darkest seasons of my life. But this will have a happy ending, I promise. So to give you a little bit of detail about the story without going too crazy because it's irrelevant. There was a longtime client with whom I had an amazing relationship with up to that point, and then eventually she couldn't pay for the services anymore, so we had to pause access until payments were back in order. So nothing spectacular, actually, just like, normal business procedure. But the client didn't end up paying. She actually ended up going on social media and she started posting very weird and awful accusations and allegations about the business, but also me personally. And obviously that's a shock, you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is happening? And then that wasn't the worst thing because eventually she started to, contact other clients of mine and started recruiting them and told them whatever kind of stories and lies that would make these people turn on me. So overnight, I lost a lot of clients. I had a crazy financial damage in obviously client loss, but also in reputation damage. So it was rough and it kind of came out of nowhere. Because again, I was just like, thriving and I fell off my horse. And I remember when I was actually horse riding back in the day, my coach, she said to me, like, when you fall off and you don't get back on the horse immediately, you will never get back on a horse ever again. And I believe it's the same with business. So obviously, I had to deal with, accusations and my reputation that was on the line. I had to deal with losing these clients and protecting the community that was still there and serving the remaining clients that I had. And obviously navigating the financial ups and downs and all that stuff. So that was a lot of, mental and emotional pain, but also legally obviously, challenging. And here is what I believe got me through all of this and made me become a better leader and made me, pivot my brand in the most amazing way. Because what happened was, it wasn't just, the problems that you see. Obviously, these problems were bad. Like, I'm not going to lie, it was bad. But what was worse was the heartbreak. The betrayal that I felt in my heart, the knives I felt in my back. I was burning out. I felt like I want to hide. I can't take, the pressure. I can't take the heat anymore. Like, I'm done. And I felt like everything that I was doing up to that point was irrelevant. It wouldn't matter because, the people that I served and helped so much were turning on me heavily. And so it makes you spiral and it makes you question your purpose. It makes you question yourself. And I seriously thought, like, I'm done. Like, I lost the love for this business. I actually built this business because it had my heart and soul in it, and I ended up hating it. And what really changed everything for the better was three things. Number one, I had to really go deep into my subconscious mind, because mindset is all cute, but it's only 5%. So, the mindset was really just what got me going in these first hours and days of shock, where I felt like, I want to hide. I don't want to be here. And I was like, nah, you're going to continue to show up imperfectly to the capacity that you can, but you're not going to stop. But after that, it was really my subconscious mind where I was like, I need to unlink all of these weird connections that I'm now making, because when something like this happens, it is traumatic. And by now we know that trauma creates neural pathways that are very strong in your brain, and they fire, and then, they influence your life and how you feel and how you think and how you behave. And so I didn't want that, because I didn't want this experience to impact how I was moving forward. And I didn't want, this person to change how I relate to my clients and how I relate to people in general. I still wanted to trust people. I still wanted to love people. And so I really had to rewire my subconscious. I had to find, the blind spots that were now making me struggle so hard, that made me, want to like play small and lean out. But also I had to find the blind spots in my subconscious that brought me to this, because while I believe like you should let people take their own accountability and responsibility for their own shit, we also co-create situations. And sometimes it's just by, letting people cross our boundaries, or, just tolerating red flags, or over giving where we're, trying to prove ourselves and we're not seeing that we're actually running in this very toxic loop of trying to be enough. And that was definitely something that came up for me, where it was like, I just, opened the door for everyone and anyone. I didn't care. I just wanted to help in the name of, just being a good human and wanting to serve everyone. But really it was thinking that I have to prove myself. I have to work so hard to earn success, to earn respect, to, be good enough to be seen and all that stuff. And that makes you do moves that are just sabotaging your business. So while everything looked good, underneath there were patterns that were already sabotaging me. Because when I'm looking back, like from a lens of, material and financial success, everything was fucking amazing. But I was drained and I was tired, and I didn't want to continue to build this business in this way. I was actually having, visions and dreams of a pivot and of something else and something different. But whenever I felt like I'm going to go for that, there was also this voice in my head that was like, you're going to let people down, you're going to leave people behind. And I didn't want that. And so eventually, that's what came back to bite me, because when you don't evolve, I believe that life will kick you in the butt. So you do. And then the next step was really, focusing on my nervous system. So not just healing from what was happening or what has happened, but also training my nervous system to stretch a little bit more, because I was holding more than I used to be holding. And it was tough. Like I had a lot of anxiety, because again, the nervous system isn't used to that bullshit. And so it doesn't feel safe, and your body is panicking, and your body is spiraling, and your body is freezing. And that's when you find yourself lying, in bed like a shrimp. And it's the combination of the subconscious mind and the nervous system. Like when these two are on one page, if these two feel safe, if these two are, just logically analyzing your emotions and making adult-like decisions and not emotionally reactive ones, you're good. But when you're going through a season where your reality is crumbling and everything is falling apart and you're getting challenged a lot, these two need extra care. They need extra attention. And so this is where I realized, fuck the strategy. Like, you don't need more strategy. And don't get me wrong, strategy is important, content creation, all that stuff is important, sales, etc. But what made me survive was psychology. And it was putting my human first and realizing where I was trying to, get validation for the wrong purpose, and where I was feeling like I can rest because I would feel guilty for, not showing up 24/7 like a motherfucking robot for people. And I actually had to sit my ass down and get real on where I was betraying myself. So this betrayal kind of was like, the mirror for what I was tolerating, where I was betraying myself. And of course, the hardest part is to not let other people's opinions and perceptions become your truth. Because it's easy to think, maybe I'm not cut for this. Maybe, I am this bad person. Maybe I am this bad leader. And that's not the case. And if you're going through any of these situations or anything similar, like, you don't let other people define who you are and what you can or can't do, period. So the last part of these 3 steps that really changed the game for me was the energetics, because when I rewired my subconscious over and over and over again and really clocked what was happening there, what I was believing, what was firing, what was triggering me, and I learned to, let that sink into the body and brought back my safety and just setting up the foundation to grow and to continue to move forward, my energetic signal changed, because I do believe that every second of every day we are broadcasting a signal to the quantum field, and whatever that signal is, well, it's getting reflected in your manifested material reality. And I noticed the more I was doing the subconscious and nervous system work, the better my life became, because the energetics started to change and my reality started to match this new frequency, this new signal. And I ended up pivoting my brand because I had to, because for the first time I felt like I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to create an offer that I love. I want to serve people that I resonate with. I want to, fulfill my purpose in my own way, on my own terms. And within 6 months, with a team of 2, we changed the entire backend. We pivoted the brand, and I fell in love with this business all over again. Where before, I felt like, oh my God, purpose is gone. Like, I am just at rock bottom. And now it's like I quantum leaped. Seriously, I quantum leaped, and it's just due to identity transformation. Like, I changed my identity. I changed who I was being as the leader, as, the human operating and running this business. And so the business changed and the results changed and the people I attracted into my field changed. And that's like the best part of all of this. You get to feel better and you get to attract better. I literally 10x'd my results from that. And now I'm teaching you the same. So if you're going through a rough season, and if you, want to create legacy, because that is what this is really about, how we live, how we feel, how we love, and what eventually we're going to leave behind. Yes, materialistically, but also, our values and morals and our definition of happiness and our definition of success. And that's why I created my free training, How to 10x Your Legacy, where I teach you this exact psychology. I show you step by step how I, did this, how I rewired my subconscious and how I did the nervous system work and the energetics and how I continue to use it. And ever since then, I've been scaling faster than ever. I am multiplying my impact right now. I have the success that feels amazing. And what I've learned is it's not business that is hard. It's the emotional and mental challenges that come with business that make all of this very rough. And psychology is really the answer to just feeling good about what you're building and creating a legacy that you're in love with. So if that's what you want, I see you in the room. The link is in my bio.